All righty, incredible greetings, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. It's time for a little lunchtime live. And here we go again. No sound detected. I wonder why. Not for you guys, on my other one. Hold on. I don't know. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Alrighty then. I don't have time to figure this out, so we're just going to end this live. I don't have time to figure that out. Hello, everyone else over on Facebook and YouTube. How art thou? It is Wednesday. That means it's time to learn a little bit about designing and answer your questions, things that we can do to help our business, designs that will help your business. All righty, let me get over here to this live video so I can edit the privacy. There we go. All right, team. We're going to go ahead and share that out. And let's go ahead and put it in the groups. It's Wednesday. It's normally the day where I try to stay live most of the day, but I had some calls that I had to take care of this morning. So I didn't get to come on and do my early morning live video. So now it's kind of a lunchtime live, probably more lunchtime for the Central Standard, maybe Mountain Time. Most of East Coast probably is back in from lunch, but it's okay if you sneak and watch. All right. So, all right, let's see. All righty. Let me see, make sure I have this right. Join me live. It is time to brush up on those design skills for your hobby and business with the master of Silhouette Studio, Shakia the Professor. I think that's a pretty good caption for this. So we're going to go ahead and copy and paste that and then share it to our other group. There we go. Let's share it to this group. And there we go. And paste and post. All right, we are all shared out. Hello, 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 everyone. Incredible greetings. I am Shakia, the Professor of HSINK365. We are the home of the Honestly Speaking brand of products. We carry the absolute best sublimation ink and paper. You can find all of our products over on shop.hsink365.com. Again, that is shop.hsink365.com. Our ink bottles are 140 milliliters. Our paper allows you to sublimate as low as 365 degrees, as fast as 30 seconds. And most times, if you guys have seen any of my demos, especially when I'm doing things like with fabric and I'm using high quality polyester fabrics, you see that I don't have to lint brush. I don't really have to, it's not something that's really small. Don't have to do a lot with, utilizing tape and things of that nature. However, we do have tape over on the website, so you can check that out as well. Our tape is non-staining, non-marking, so you don't get those yellow marks when you are using our tape. So all that can be found over on shop.hsink365.com. But for today, we are going to focus on the learning side. What the part that I feel is the most important part if you are someone who is looking to start a creative business, and that is the design aspect. All right. Whether you are designing from scratch, you're setting your design up from scratch, if you are simply resizing something, you are filling it into a template and making it fit the size that you need, you have to know how to do those things in the software that you choose to work in. All right. So we are going to take a look at using Silhouette Studio. I also have Photoshop, and I do, I dabble sometimes in Cricut Design Space. It's not my program of choice, but if you have specific questions on that, guys, I am more than happy, to answer those questions for you. Okay. I guess where we will start at while I wait for you guys to formulate your questions. Remember that these sessions, whenever I do the live sessions, they are Q&A sessions. They can be master classes, because if you ask some really great questions and we are able to break that down and show you how to accomplish it, it turns into a whole master class. But these sessions are driven by you guys. It's what you guys want to see, what you need to learn, what you have been struggling on, what you have searched over on YouTube or TikTok or in Facebook groups. If you posted something and maybe you haven't quite gotten the answer for it, if you're looking for a design, want to know how to do a technique on a design, now is the time to ask that, because you get to see the demo of it in real time. All right. So feel free to go ahead and start posting your questions. You don't have to wait until one question is completed before you post yours. I tend to go through the comment section and make sure that I hit all of the questions, as long as it's within the time frame that we are going to be live. All right. I will start us off. I know that the movie came out last weekend, but I actually still got a question about Barbie. So I will start there with just tracing it and removing colors and breaking that down as far as how you can set that up. This was a question that was posed to me based off of another video, but it was in a different program. They wanted to know how to do it in Silhouette Studio. So I want to preference this first tutorial or this first demonstration by saying that this is for educational purposes only. Because you are able to trace something in Silhouette Studio, adjust colors and customize it, however you want to say it, because you are able to do that, but just because you're able to do that does not mean you have all rights to license, trademark, copywritten, artwork. There we go. Those images and likenesses thereof still belong to all of the, of those specific parties and, whoever owns them. Now, if you have purchased rights and licenses to be able to use them, that is something that is different. Even if you're going and let's say the Mushka ones, once you purchase her files, you're able to use them in different ways. There's not very many restrictions on that. So that part is different. So wherever you're ordering it from, just make sure that you check the terms and conditions. Also understand that if you are to purchase license and copyright items from places like Etsy, just because that Etsy shop says, yeah, it's okay, you can use my files, you can do what you want with them, those files those images don't technically belong to them either. If it's not something that they created, and if it is something that is licensed and trademarked by another company, they just have compiled them into one convenient file for you so that you don't have to scour the internet for it. Do know that you can still be liable for utilizing these items, and they can send cease and desist and things of that nature. So by me showing you how to do this, it is not to say that, hey, this gives you free range to use it. I am simply doing this for education purposes and showing how the different tools and functions work. And we are all grown here. I don't think there is anyone under the age of 18 that watches my content. So we are all adults here, so we understand and take responsibility and for any consequences that may come due to our actions and what we do with these design software. So that's my little disclaimer, because I had somebody come for me saying that I was showing people how to do X, Y, and Z. So yeah, that is what it is. All right. So good afternoon. You have a video on print settings for an Epson 2800 for printing other than sublimation. You just use regular print settings. So really the settings are the same. The only reason why I have a specific one for sublimation is because our paper is not like most other papers, and you cannot put a lot of ink down on it. And I wanted people to see that for our paper, there's a little blue screenshot that goes around in groups that says use premium matte, and you really don't have to use that. I don't personally care for EcoTank printers. I don't really use them. They are dye-based printers. But what you're going to do is simply just use the settings, as based off of what paper you are using. So if you are using, we're going to go to cassette 1. So if you are using a glossy photo paper, you're going to go to photo glossy. If you're using a really good matte paper, or even just using a regular paper, I pretty much use presentation paper matte. So it's either going to be that or it's going to be photo glossy. If you're wanting nice saturated colors, you want a high resolution print, you want to use a high resolution setting. Any of the ones in here are high resolution settings, and it's going to put down a lot of ink clustered together really tight where you don't have banding lines. Other than that, everything else literally is the same. I don't care what I am printing. I'm pretty much always on Adobe RGB Gamma 1.8. And of course, you won't mirror because you're doing a regular print, but it's technically exactly the same. How would you do a seamless tumbler or mug pattern using a repeated pattern? The only way to do that is you have to make sure that even with your overlap, you're going to have to do a lot of math and make sure that with your overlap that the images line up. And that can be kind of difficult to do. You have to be extremely spot on. So you would have to measure your tumbler. You would have to know where, like exactly where it ends at, but you have to have some overlap. So within that overlap section, you can't just have the design continue through that. You have to be very strategic in how you line that up so that it matches. And then that means that also when you wrap it, you are going to have to be meticulous in making sure that you are pulling it extremely tight based off of your measurements and how you have set it up to make sure that that lines up. Or choose a design that kind of on that seam, the major part of the design is not in that particular section. But there is really no trick that you can do to make something that has like a flower, or if it's a Care Bear, or if it's like Mickey or Minnie, to really make that line up. Okay. Do I have any specific printer settings for darker skin tones? I think I saw your question, and we have to remember, if you watch my video, I have a video that says, stop. Before you purchase an EcoTank printer, watch this video, because I explain in that particular video that The ink that comes in the box and that those eco tanks are designed to use is a pigment ink. It's a darker ink. So when you put sublimation ink in those printers, you are not going to get accurate colors. You are going to get those reddish and orangish overtones. If you have something that is red and you're not using a color chart, it might come out looking orange. Your royal blues may come out looking purple because it is designed to use an ink whose color profile, like the makeup of it, is totally different. Dye-based inks in those tanks darn near look black. Everything is dark. But sublimation ink is pigmented. It looks the color. So the yellow looks either like a yellow, mustard yellow. The cyan, it looks cyan. It doesn't look like a black or like a brownish color. Yellow doesn't look like food coloring where it looks almost orange. So there's really nothing like that you can really do about that. The only thing that I can suggest, which I've talked about in videos, is you have to figure out for yourself what adjustments you need to make. And what you'll have to do is test prints. So you're going to set your design up, you'll shrink it down, you're going to print them out in different settings, and you're going to press them to scrap fabric to figure out what's going to be the best setting. Because there are some times where ICM is going to give you a better color. You may need to take your saturation down. You may need to go to the slide bar and take out some of that magenta so that it's not a heavy red tone. But there is no specific setting because everybody's image is going to be different. And figuring out which setting with the Eco Tank, what you use for one set of pictures may not work for the next, which is why I always say I do test prints. Before I go and just print something out and apply it to a tumbler, a shirt, a mug, or whatever, I do a test run that's smaller and I press it to scrap fabric. Okay. Let's see. I am struggling with tracing a picture and need it larger. It becomes distorted. If your image is a low quality image, there is nothing that you can do to make it not be distorted unless it is something where you can trace it to vectorize it. So you're in my group. If you post that question, you post that picture so that I can see it. I can walk you through it, but I can't just give you a blanketed answer because I don't know exactly when you say picture. Some people will say picture, but it's really a clip art. Some people say picture and it's a picture of a person, and nothing that you can do trace wise will ever make that image where it will be a better quality and won't become pixelated once enlarged. So I really need to see the image or picture that you are referring to. All right. So let's start this off. Like I said, I'm going to search Barbie logo. I like to put clip art because I just want to make sure it's a clip art version. That's just me and how I search. Okay. So we're going to pull this over here. Let's cancel this because we're not printing anymore. Okay. So let's take this one, for example. All right. We're going to, which this was a bad trace to begin with. I can tell by this area, it was a bad trace to begin with. But we're just going to copy that. I don't think, let's see if I see another one that's like that. All right. So let's see, Barbie logo, PNG. Well, maybe that looks so weird at the top. So we're going to click on here. A lot of the times, a lot of images and sports team logos, if you go to Wiki Commons, you'll actually have the SVG version of it, which means you don't have to trace it. So if I click on here, it said PNG, but if you, a lot of times if you click on here, let's see, is it going to come up? This looks like a really bad, it just looks weird. Oh my God. Like the lines on this, they don't look clean. This looks like was this really their logo? That looks really, really bad. Like even the registered R looks weird. Okay, I'm going to back up because it's not showing me the download option. Okay, hello. Okay, there we go. All right, so if I click on here and I go save image as, let's see what it comes up as. Because a lot of the times the SVG version will be there and all you have to do is download that. And if you have Designer Edition or above, you can open up the SVG. So it just says a PNG image. And so I'm just going to cancel that because I don't need the PNG image. And if you have Cricut, of course, you can just open that up. You don't have to go through a third-party website. So I'm just going to come here. So I did copy it. I'm going to come back to Silhouette Studio. I'm going to right click and choose paste. All right. It does have the gray and white boxes on it, but that's okay. And we're going to open this back up again. And let's see. All right. Let's do this one, copy image, and we're going to come over here and paste. Okay. So we have two different ones. And there's one that has, like, if you get the one that has a black outline around it in our 30-day training, that actually is one of the images that we use for the 30-day training, is how to trace it, because it has a black outline and your traditional trace won't really give you the results because it'll end up with an opening in it. So if you have not already done so, check out the 30-day training. And if you already have it, go to the tracing module, because that is where I teach how to do it when you have a black outline around it. Okay. As a reminder, guys, this is a Q&A session. The information that you guys will receive during this session is going to be based off of the questions that you guys have. If you ask no questions, you get no tutorial, you'll get no teaching, no training, you get no information. I am starting off with this because it was asked of me on how to trace the Barbie logo for some things that they were creating. I gave my disclaimer in the beginning of this, but if there are no questions, once we get done with this, we'll be done. So make sure that you are posting your question. And if you are able to put your image in the group before I get off, I will take a look at that and give you some direction on how to accomplish, what it is that you're trying to do. Okay. All right. So over here, we are going to come to our trace panel, which it looks like a little butterfly. You're going to click on that. You're going to click on select trace area, place your box around it, and then you're going to take your threshold up. And what you're really focusing on is not doing the entire image. We want to capture the solid color around the white. Although the white does not have yellow on it, having the yellow around it, it still creates a shape for that particular area. Okay. What are we learning today? Whatever questions you guys have. Whenever I do these sessions, it's all based off of Q&A and the questions that you guys have. So if no one's posting questions, we don't have anything to learn today. So right now, I am working on a question that someone posed to me on taking an image of the Barbie logo and separating it so they can fill it in with color. So here we want to trace. Okay, we want to trace. Then we're going to move this off to the side. And when you click on it and fill it in with color, it looks, minus the white and gray checkered lines, it looks basically the same. Okay. Looks the same. However, it is an opening there. You can't make that white. So if we move this away from the design page and place it over here, it looks gray because you can see through it. If I put a box here and I fill it in with color, I didn't want to do gray. If I fill it in with color, I send that to the back, you're going to see that color through there instead of seeing white. So to make it where you can see white, we are going to click on it, right click, and release compound path. It will release everything. If you have turned your line color off, you won't see anything there. But most times you have your line color on, and this is pink, so we can't really see it too much. My professional advice is if you filled it in with color and that color makes it hard to see the line color, that you change your line color to a different color so that you are able to see it. Okay. Now, to get the white, there are several ways that this can be done, right? Sometimes the issue with watching shorter videos is they're going to show you one way, right? And if you happen to do something that is not in that video, you happen to click off, do whatever, you'll get confused. You're going to be frustrated. You're going to keep blaming, beating yourself up thinking that you did something wrong when there's more than one way to scan a cat. I'm going to duplicate this so that I can demonstrate that. Now, I can hold down Shift and click the outside. What that leaves me with is Barbie, as well as the icon over here. Now, I can go in here and click for days and try and deselect everything that is here that makes up that R. Okay. And now I'm left with just the letters for Barbie. I'm going to right click and I'm going to make that a compound path. So now this can be filled in with white. I have that, and I have the solid piece here. Okay. Now, another way that this can be done. So let's say we have everything selected, right? I don't want to have to go through and click on all the individual areas of the R. I'm going to click off, select the R, and I'm just going to make that a compound path by itself. So now it's one item. Then I'm going to go through and drag and select everything again, hold down Shift. And before, where I had to click on so many areas for the R, now I just do one click, two clicks, and then I can make this a compound path. Okay. Or I could click off and go click and click on all of the inner parts, all of the elements, which you can see there. It can do it that way and do a lot of individual clicks and make it a compound path. Oops, and see, I forgot one up here. If you forgot this one at the top, what would you do? So let's do a little quiz here. All right. If you went through all of this and realized, oh man, I don't have, actually, I think we're missing two areas. No, we're just missing one. You did not have the area at the top of the B. It didn't cut out like everything else. What would you do in this situation? I'm going to give it a minute and just wait for your answer. Okay, so waiting for a few more answers. All I see are YouTubers commenting. Where's our Facebook people? Those who are watching over on Facebook, do you have an answer? So we see here, highlight missing box plus the word and make it a compound path. Do you see the missing box? So how do we find the missing box or missing shape? How do we find that? Because I don't see any, there's nothing here. I filled this in with green. I don't see, all the rest of these are outlined in different color. I don't see anything here. All I see is this. So then we see someone else that says release compound path again. Okay. So once we release compound path, what are we going to do? All right. And it says undo and add the missing piece. Okay. Not saying that any of those are right or wrong. So we can undo and start. So somebody else says that they would undo. So if we were to undo, well, I went back kind of far. So there we go. So we undo. So I'm going to go from here and I'm going to make it a compound path. I realize, oh crap, I am missing it. And okay. Oh, there was something there. All right. So let's see. So someone said undo, right? So if I were to, oh, come on. Make this a compound path. Dang it. I'm going to click on all of the areas again. Make it a compound path. Fill it in with color, which now it's to the front. Now you can see it. If you can still see those areas, you are able to hold down Shift and click in those sections like Akina set up here. You are able to simply hold down Shift, click those areas, okay, and then make it a compound path. You can do that. If you were to simply release compound path, everything is released, but you still don't see those missing areas. So you have to select them. The easiest way to do that would be to drag and select over everything. Hold down Shift, drag and select over those sections. With Shift still held down, you're going to click on the pink. That is going to deselect it. And then you're going to right click and make that a compound path, and all the pieces will be there. But you don't have to release compound path in order to do that. So this is how it originally showed up. We know because we saw them that those pieces are in fact still there. We just can't see them because they are behind. Like when we made it a compound path, it brought that section to the front and we can't see the other parts. However, if you simply hold down Shift, drag and select, click on the pink, those boxes are there. So you just right click and make it a compound path. It's not to say that it is wrong to undo it and go back, but sometimes it's more work to do it that way, depending on like if you had, like, let's say if you couldn't drag and select and you had to click through a lot of different things. Well, how do I, do I go back to that one? Or you can undo and just click them. Not saying that that's wrong. If that is how you are more comfortable doing it, that's how you understand best, then you can definitely do it that way. But once you know the tools, you know the functions, you know how they work, you can make your process easier and you won't panic, because you will understand that for some things, it's just okay, well, I just missed that part. Let me select it and I'm done in like 2 seconds flat. Okay. All right. So that's that. All right, I'm going, and the way that this is now set up, you would take the Barbie, like this is the background, this would be solid, and the Barbie would be on top. So the individual letters would be on top. Now, you can also set this up where we're going to go. So let's say you have this open. I saw a video and someone did this. I don't recommend it if you're doing something like vinyl, because you are going to have 2 full layers on top, and that can be very, very heavy. But another way that this would be done is I'm going to release compound path and weld. I'm going to make that white and send it to the back. These two look exactly the same. Can we agree? They look exactly the same, right? Let me know if you guys feel that these look exactly the same. Okay, so yes, 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 they do. But they are not the same in how you say they don't look the same. What looks different about them? What looks different about these two? So someone else, yep, they look the same. It's something with the lettering. No, they're made from the exact same, like, I'm not sure if you just kind of saw me do that. So like with this one, all I did was subtract all. I'm going to move this. I'm going to just copy and paste in front, release compound path, weld it, and then send it to the back. It's literally made from the same, it's made from the same thing. So there's really nothing that should come off as them being different. They should look exactly the same, but they're not made the same because of how, if you separate them and if you were to layer them. Okay. Well, so here, if you were to click on this one and move it, you have a solid backing, and you have, oh wait, you know what? I want to do one more. Okay. So with this one, if you were to move this, you would have one solid, and like in this section, I'm going to just use my pencil. In this section, right, let's change the line color on that. Okay, so in this section, what the heck? Oh, I know why. Duh, Shakia. We didn't make it default. There we go. So again, in this section right here, it would be just the pink on whatever, whether it's a shirt, if it's a tumbler, if it's a mug, if it's a keychain, if it is a lunchbox, if it is a book bag, if it's a wall decal, if it is whatever it is, it would be just that pink layer. And then only where the letters are, it would be 2 layers of vinyl or of paper or of HTV or glitter HTV. Okay. This one, however, is the open, like the pink part has an opening in it. And how you get that color in the back, it is the size of the entire thing just filled in with white. So as long as they line up, they will look exactly the same. But this now has it where in this really bulky section, that's solid, that would be 2 solid layers of adhesive vinyl, 2 solid layers of heat transfer vinyl. It would be 2 layers of cardstock. So it's going to cause it to feel thicker and have dimension. And then in the area of the letters, it's only going to be 1. So it would have this kind of recessed look for the white, and the pink would be on top. Whereas with this, the white is on top and the pink is recessed. This one, however, would be a setup where each color would touch the substrate. There will be no overlap. There's going to be no, I guess you can say, bulkiness. There's going to be no thickness on any area of it because it all will touch the surface of your substrate. All will touch the surface of your shirt. However, with this type of setup, especially with heat transfer vinyl, if it's smooth, once you heat that bottom layer, it is going to shrink. And then trying to put this in there, whatever the color of your substrate is, it's going to show through. I know there's a bunch of people that will teach, oh, put an offset on this, that way it'll shrink and it'll fit. That's a bunch of bull. I'm here to tell you that's a bunch of bull, because no one can determine how heat transfer vinyl will shrink. There's a lot of factors. How much pressure are you using? How long are you leaving the heat press down? What temperature are you using? And depending on the shirt or the substrate, it will shrink differently. And you can have an order for 10 shirts, and where it shrinks at and the amount that it shrinks will be different on every last shirt, which means this perfect puzzle is not going to be that perfect. If you're using adhesive vinyl, things can shift and move. It may not quite line up. Now, if you're using liquid glue, it's a little bit easier, like if you're doing like paper crafting, because you have a little bit of working time to make sure that it fits like right there in that pocket. So they all offer different possibilities depending on your preference on how you want it to be set up. But it gives you like, you have to know what the end result will be. Now, this is with it all being flat. If I wanted to now, like, let's say I'm making an invitation, I'm making a print, like a sticker or a label that I'm going to print out. Well, now if I'm going to add other elements to it, if I'm going to add highlights, if I'm going to add shadows, if I'm going to add offsets, things of that nature, these now all would give different results based off of how it's set up. So sometimes it is knowing what the next step will be will determine out of these three options which one you're going to use. Because if I were to take this and add a shadow to it, it's going to be behind it. Okay. You're not going to see the shadow anywhere on here. If I were to add a shadow to, let's say, the pink section, okay, so you can see, where that shadow ends up at. All right, we have the B here and how that looks. All right, now if we were to add a shadow on this one, it goes behind it, kind of like the white one did. If we add a shadow onto the white layer, that's a different setup. Okay, you will never get this shadow effect with it set up this way. Okay, and then with this one, I'm going to put a shadow, right? Technically, we can say it looks like that, but what if this was sent? I'm going to take my shadow off. I'm going to send this to the back. Me sending that to the back, did it change the way that this looks? So I'm going to undo. Okay. So now it's back to the front and I'm going to send it to the back. Did that change the way that this bottom one looks? Oh, someone says subtract all the background we're missing underneath. Yes. As you saw here, that is an option. How does one become a member of 365 Creative Academy? So we don't have an academy where like you just become a member of it and you get access to all of the classes. Now, if you would like access and to become a member of our 365 Creative Academy Student Union, all you have to do is purchase a class from our website. So whether it is our 30-day challenge or 7-day, our vector, creating vectors, party favors, custom effect, doesn't matter what it is. And guys, just because I'm actually going to change the thumbnail on this, I think that some people think because the dates are on there, it's like outdated material. Nothing I ever teach is ever outdated. You can always use it. But yes, these were taught live last year, but you can still purchase the playbacks for it. So I just have to update that. But no matter which class you purchase, on your dashboard, you're going to see a link and a passcode to join to join that particular Facebook group. Okay. All right. No one asked, no one answered. So whether this is to the front, whether this is to the front or in the back, is there a difference in how it looks? Is there a difference in how it looks if the white letters are to the front or to the back? Do you see any type of change? Okay, no, it looks the same. Nope, it looks the same. Someone says yes. Okay, what change do you see? So if I were to put a shadow back on this, the shadow is there. We don't see it because this is an opening and the letters are the back layer. You don't see the shadow. But if I bring that to the front, you see the shadow. So bring to the front, send to the back. The position of it matters depending on, well, yeah, the position of it matters depending on the look that you are going for. Like with this one, if I were to send it to the back, there is no opening. It goes away completely. Then I have to send this one back to the back. If I were to take this one and add a shadow to it, that is there. So that's to the front. But if I send that to the back, I'm going to turn this one off. We don't see the shadows at all. This is why you may look at someone's picture and you may not be able to, like, you're looking at it like, okay, well, I'm doing all this stuff. I'm doing what they said to do, but you might be missing one little step. This is one of the main reasons why for me, when I'm teaching, I don't do tutorials. I don't teach you just to do something and do it one way, because you'll never know how something will be. I teach you to do all of it. Hold on one second. Sorry about that. I tried to answer the call, but I couldn't. It was my mom. So that's, like I said, I like to teach the tools. I like to teach functions and what it is that they do. I like to teach multiple ways so that when you have your file in front of you, it's going to make a little bit more sense. Okay. Okay, there we go. I had to answer a question. All right. So feel free. I see only one more question. So if we don't have any questions after I answer this one, we will go ahead and close out this particular live video. Okay. So the question up here was, I see two questions. Okay. I see this one and this one. I have a question. I have not heard you answer. I know you don't do rhinestones a lot, but do you have a suggestion on how to offset a rhinestone template with a solid outline without the offset being around each stone? If it is already a rhinestone design, there is nothing that you can do outside of tracing that to create an outline around it and then offsetting that and then putting it around it, because those are already circles that have been established. So if I were to have, like, if you had the vector format, wrong one. I'm just going to do this one. If it was already in a vector format, you would be able to do an offset. Hello. There we go. You will be able to do an offset and have that where you can put that as an outline and then you can fill this part in. But if it is already in the if it's already in the, well, I don't know, you might be able to do it if they're all together. So if you select everything and you do an offset, I don't know if it'll give you like a solid line. Most times it doesn't really. And then if it's a really, really big file with a lot of dots on it, yeah, see, you're just going to get a lot of individual circles around it. So if you just go ahead and hit apply, all it's going to be is a bunch of circles. It's not going to, so I'm going to come back over here to Rhinestones. You can go back, you can now go to outline. You're going to have some gaps in it, but at least you'll be able to do outline instead of filling in the whole thing. And this is something that's not very complex. If it is complex, you're going to have to basically create an outline around it so that you can do an offset. And then this was really technically like still somewhat together, and it did the individual circles because hold on, let me see. Let me go over here. I'm going to go release Rhinestones, but I also want to, make compound path. Let's release compound path. Okay. Because normally you do a lot of circles. It doesn't really, because you really should get a solid line too and not just circles. So I just want to see something. So I'm going to hit apply on that. And I'm doing a couple different things here. So let me see. Let me go here and go no stones. Okay, yeah. So if you go to no stones and you see the outline, then you can just hit outline on it, because it's going to give you a solid outline. But that's about it. It's giving you yes. So the same way here, it gives you individual circles. Now, that's why I said this was created in this one. I'm trying to make it to where it's like, hold on. That's because you're in rhinestone mode. I'm going to put a box and we're going to make this a compound path. Let's go copy and paste and release compound path. All right, I got to make sure that my circles have, okay, so that's what I want. So if you have an SVG, normally that SVG is going to come in like this. Oh, come on. Okay, you're going to have just regular circles. If you select that and you do an offset, I'm in a new window. This is like if you were to open up an SVG, it should come, and depending on your offset. So with this at 0.125 and I hit apply, it's going to give me a solid line around it. Now, if I am in rhinestone mode, it might be a little bit different. Because if I go outline, and again, it does depend on how complex your image is. Yeah, see, me doing the outline is not really giving me anything here. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to go offset. And it might, like, since I put outline, it might give me the offset with just the single line versus it all filled in. It was giving me that result before. See, now I have all of these individual ones. I'm going to go ahead and hit apply. And yes, it's a bunch of circles, but under rhinestone, if you then go to outline and not linear fill, oh, see, actually, no, it converted. It gave me the outline. So I think it just might be your file. And depending on how they set it up, if you got it as an SVG or if they sold it as a silhouette file, as you can see, every situation is going to be a little bit different. Because I'm able to get it just by offsetting and just making it an outline instead of, you're going to get individual. So if I take this and I go like this, I'm going to see all of the individual circles. But as an outline, you don't, like, it's just the outline. Okay. All right. I would like to teach some more, but I don't want this. I don't want the video to go over an hour. So I'm literally about to end this video and I'm going to start another one just so that it's not like a 2-hour video. And then maybe a new notification will come up. The new notification will bring in others that may have had questions. They did not see this one. So I'm going to try and see that, like, if I end up doing like 1-hour burst of live videos. So start one, stop it, start another one. So if you are able to jump on and you have questions, if you just want to learn from the questions of others, I invite you guys to come on back. Just check the YouTube channel or check my page in about like 5 minutes or so. And I'm going to start another live video right after this one. Okay. Don't forget to visit our website, shop.hsink365.com. That is where you're going to find all of our Honestly Speaking products, as well as all of our classes. All of our classes get you access to the 365 Creative Academy Student Union, where I do exclusive videos and exclusive tutorials over there. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I had one more question. Hold on. The question was, is there a way to print and cut bigger than what is presented to us? I have 11 by 17 sheet. What's the best method hack to make my print and cut bigger? How big are you trying to make it? If you're wanting it to be, let's say, just for the sake of it, like 13 by 19, but you only have 11 by 17 paper, you're going to have to split it. I don't know what type of design it is to really advise you on splitting it. If it's, say, like a character, you will be able, my advice would be to find an area where you can split it without it being a straight line. So you're going to utilize your edit points to contour to that area, and you're going to separate it that way. And then you'll have the two print and cuts on the individual paper. If it's just you trying to maximize whatever you can fit on 11 by 17, that is different. So I will need to know, if you're still on, what is it that you're actually trying to print and cut, and what size are you trying to make it? I'll give it a little minute just in case you are on. But then we're going to end this one and start a new live video. Oh, well, thank you so much, the Stitching Studio. I really appreciate it. That made me smile. Thank you. And for anyone that doesn't know, that is a super chat or a super sticker. Yes, you can send monetary thanks via that method. If you're watching over on Facebook, on Sellaholics Anonymous, you can send stars, and We also have other options in the description, whether you want to send it to PayPal or Cash App. If you ever just want to say thank you for the free information, free knowledge, and whatever you have learned from these live videos, if it helped you directly, you can always send a monetary thanks. We appreciate those. Okay, maybe they are not on anymore, and I can hopefully catch them at a different time. All right, y'all. I shall talk to you guys in a moment if you're able to jump on. Until next time, have a great one. Continue to unlock your creativity and be incredible. Peace.